one thing you mentioned in your story that you love to talk about Jesus, but as much what even in your bio also I found that you are a professional, you are corporate professional, you are not a mission person, you are not a full-time missionary. Sorry if I used you are not a mission
No, no,
person,
no, no, no.
but you are a full-time. The major part of your life is you are a working
Corporate.
professional, corporate professional. So being a corporate professional, why do you think that it's necessary for you in your personal life to
One of
share the
the very
gospel?
primary reasons, Avinash and friends, is when I walk into these boardrooms are no big different. They are people with suits and ties and limousines, and they come in BMWs. But actually, character and nature-wise, we are all evil. We are all selfish. We are all going to hell, or we are all dying. They don't know that, and they celebrate their death and thinking they take joy. It's just like, look, I have cut my arm, and they're so happy, and everybody says, oh, you've cut your arm, and they're happy. They celebrate. They don't know that they're stepping inch by inch to hell, and there you're standing there. I always remember long years ago in one of the corporate prayer meetings, I was sitting, and there was just this discussion among like Avinash and youngsters were there, and we all were talking, and one guy stood up and he said, I have a word I wanted to share. I meditated, and he shared from Esther, Mordecai's word. Mordecai says to Esther, probably because of this day, God has kept you in this place, Esther, he says to that queen. Because of God's plan, he has kept you. Always when I sit there and see, because God wants us to be there. Many, my CEOs, my friends, are all the people who are so educated, so logical, but they forget the basic fundamental thing, that life and this life giver is Jesus Christ. And without that, they are going to into abyss. That makes me tell them that I actually, Avinash, as I go along in the session today, I will say, I don't directly tell them, but I kind of live out with them, walk with them, and make them. That's called the Jesus' model. Jesus asked for a question, he asked a question. So they have a question in mind, and to each of their question, that's where our testimony stands up. So my desire, I would say, why am I motivated? When I see people walking to hell, I realize if God has brought me here thus far in this kind of a place, probably it's the purpose of God and God alone. It's not my intelligence. In one of those companies I was there, they were going for a merger and acquisition, and there came Deloitte and Ernst and Young people. They came for due diligence. Oh, they came from all the way from US. One team came from, oh, all big guys sat across the board, and they were talking big things. And I was sitting there and I was saying, God, you give me wisdom to talk, and you give me knowledge, you give me grace. I was claiming 1 Corinthians 1st chapter and 4 and 5 words, in all wisdom and knowledge, God will give you speech to speak. So I was praying. And as I spoke, and they were saying, oh, you're speaking better than the founder. Do you know this company? So one of the guy, he asked me, how come you grow? I said, excellence is what we pursue. And he said, why do you want to pursue? Everybody is at that level. I said, my personal belief is whatever we do it for God. And he looked at me and he smiled and he said, at your level, you're talking about God? I said, you'll find a need. Long years back, after he found a need, he found me out of LinkedIn and Yahoo and connected and said needed prayer or how some counseling help. So God keeps us in these positions. It's not our desire, it's his plan. So let's celebrate and rejoice in his plan. That's why I do things.